Stevious.
from those shots.
Stevious, please.
That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot for a guy.
For a normal guy.
Boxcar Stevious, come on.
He takes one in the gut, but he's still standing there and just goes, I hate it when that happens.
Oh, my God.
He clearly hurt, but not bloodied. Stevious.
Hey. All right, okay. Stevious
As the critic
made of-
said, unkillable Stevious.
Fucking shit.
Jesus.
He's down. Minus 9 HP to Stevious, but he is still around and pissed off.
Holy
This
shit.
never happens to him, which means we circle back to the top of the list
Where would you like
with
to fight
Whistler,
Whistler!
who is going to be sprinting forwards, and Whistler is going to be hunting for this battle suit that you have been engaging with, Solomon. Whistler's got to roll perception. He will have advantage because he's got smell, which theoretically is not affected by a stealth field.
Yes.
But he rolls poorly. He is sprinting forwards, and he's next to you, Solomon, just furiously sniffing, looking in all directions. He's clearly not sure where to go, but he is next to you. D&D 2024 rules, because he used his perception actively, that was his action on his turn, so he's moved to where you are. He will just be staying with you while he is there. Solomon.
Solomon has a tool for this exact scenario. As the stealth suit phases out in front of him, and he sees that the other stealth suits are being taken care of or have been called, Solomon is going to call on the light of the Emperor in a moment of confusion for clarity, and he will channel divinity, and he will activate his divine sense. And his divine sense allows him, as a bonus action, to detect warp presences, holy, unholy, or alien. I know the location of any creature of those types within 60 feet of me, and I detect the presence or place if it's been desecrated. If there's some desecration here. But otherwise, I can detect the presence of aliens within 60 feet of me.
You sense a mild sense of desecration from within the cave.
Ooh,
where you were.
interesting.
And you sense the stealth suit that had gone invisible. It has moved 30 feet and is in perfect position to open fire on Morgan, with her having no cover in its next turn. However, you can get in behind that stealth suit and attack them from the rear. You have the movement.
Sensational.
Channel Divinity, is that an action?
Channel Divinity, it's a bonus action.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Get him,
My
get him,
CDs.
get him, get him.
Yeah, and he goes off like a shot.
Bam, you're right
Bang.
there, sword in hand. Make your attack.
Let's go.
I'm going to give you... Do you know what? I need to roll a perception for them because I want to know if their scanners can tell that you've come up behind them because they are Tau and they are high tech. Yes, they can. So you will not have advantage on this.
Poop. Natty 17 for a 23.
That will hit.
Clipped him.
Let's go.
Clipped him.
Let's go.
And this one is relatively undamaged, right?
Yes. This is the one that you'd only grazed.
Well, it seems like he might need a little light of the Emperor up the old Tau tailpipe. If you know what I mean.
Jesus Christ.
Let's put that.
Fuck yeah.
So I think he's not fucking around anymore. He doesn't like being betrayed. He's embarrassed a little bit, I think, too, because he was buying in to this so quickly and dismissing Damien so out of hand, being like, come on, you what are they going to do, betray us? That's crazy.
What, are the guns going to stop working?
Yeah, what, do they just turn off the guns? This technology is it's perfect. So I need some spicy D6s. Do you mind if I borrow one more off you there, Del?
Oh, no. Here you go.
Let's go. Let's go. So he just is going to full two-handed, 12 to 6, just rend this man.
May the
Technically,
light
if you're-
protect you this day.
You mentioned tailpipe. It might be 6 to 12, just an upstroke.
I
through the Tau.
didn't, that was...
I'm trying to keep continuity between what you say and what's happening in the world.
Sure.
It's just running forwards with the blade low and then hacking up through a
scraping up
Tau
the
from the
forest
bottom.
floor, as he churns through it. So that is 9, 11, 13, 19 points of damage.
With 22 points of health and having been grazed for 3 in the previous turn, this stealth suit had exactly 19 health left. So you carve up and through, and the stealth field shatters as 2 halves of a stealth suit and 2 halves of the Tau within it fall side by side and hit the forest floor.
Amazing.
Soaked in Tau blood.
Yeah. It's like the stealth field drops to Morgan's flank. She's like, oh, they've got me, and then it just splits.
Yes.
It starts a clever girl and it ends a clever boy.
Yo, the best boy.
And up next, Morgan.
It's
You
like-
watched this stealth suit that had you dead to rights get cut in half, appearing out of nowhere.
Praise the Emperor.
Yes.
And then she's going to peel out of the woods and go after the one that Stevius has fired at.
Yep.
And is climbing over with the Ormite dagger and is just going to sink the Ormite dagger into the Tau's neck through
Wonderful.
the parts
You
that have
have
been shot
advantage.
open. Ooh, that is 17 to hit.
That will definitely hit.
All right.
That's a finesse weapon. That's an attack with advantage.
And that was advantage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
then
lot
I
of
get
damage.
Sneak
Stealth,
attack.
stealth,
Then I
yeah.
get sneak attack.
Yeah.
5, 6, 10 plus 5, 15 damage.
Oh.
15 damage. Yeah, it only needed 2 more to die. So
we
very,
did
very
enough.
dead. Can you describe how you do 15 word damage to this Tau when it has 2 left?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
dead is it?
Oh, yeah. This is full on. She's coming up from behind, pulls the Ormite dagger through its neck, and is doing the usual, like, multiple stabs.
Oh, yeah.
How she's, prison shiv, and the whole head comes off.
It's the.
It's like, it's more sinewy than she expected.
What is it? It's the Ultimate Warrior, like jelly dummy guy
Oh,
getting
yeah.
stabbed over and over
yeah,
again.
yeah,
with the...
100%. Just till there is no neck
Yeah.
nor bones left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
Incredible.
the
I
show's
thought you
called.
meant Ultimate Warrior, like the wrestler.
I know, I've got the name wrong.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, what happened to him? Is he okay?
Yeah, really dark
oh,
match.
no.
Deadliest Warrior
Thank
was
you.
the name of the
Deadliest
show.
Warrior.
And there is an episode that we refer to constantly, but they had the American Special Forces come in and they were trying to show how a knife would work. And they had a Navy SEAL, I think
Something
it was.
like that.
Navy SEAL sergeant. And they were like, all right, we're going to give you a ballistic gel dummy and show us the damage that you would do with the knife that you're issued. And this guy just puts a hand on the shoulder of this dummy. And I've never seen anyone stab so fucking fast so many times. He's just like, ah! Like through the dummy, just shreds the whole interior. So
There you go.
Morgan did that to a Tau's neck.
Yep.
This Tau's head is separated from its body, rolling away. You are covered in blood. So is Stevius. Some of it his. Some of it is the Tau's. Damien is wounded. Solomon and Whistler are present. And you all find your attention turning to 2 Tau that are trapped inside a warp anomaly. Very, very vulnerable to whatever you want to do next.
This episode of Agents of the Inquisition features the voices of Del Borovic, Guy Bradford, Josh Halbert, and Tyler Hewitt, alongside Dungeon Master Ryan LaPlante. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Agents of the Inquisition's artwork was created by Del Borovic. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Cheaps by Jazzar, whose music was provided by freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. If you want to support the show or get an ad-free version, go to dumdumdice.com/join. That's dumdumdice.com/join. Again, that's dumdumdice.com/join. Though the team is working under special condition, this podcast isn't. So tell your friends about Agents of the Inquisition and join us next episode. Rabute Gilliman himself commands it.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Madre de Gatos, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Dia de los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Mickey Blake, Corpse Knight Silver, Adamir 101, The Dankler, Lady Destiny Stormbringer, Randall Eberly, Lord Taser, Funky Stevie, J. Robert the Mad Fox, Optimus Omega, The Workaholic Mr. V, LMX, Emilio and Minions, Flea Unit, Binks, Magical, King Kato, Lurking Sam, Lost, Tay the Dirt Sailor,
and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com.
Welcome to the grim darkness that is the 41st millennium. I am Inquisitor Caveat Ventus, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentine Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy role-playing game. This report features Game Master Tom McGee, Ryan LaPlante.
Hello, Tamara. Nice of you to drop by. I just started a new podcast.
As Alto. What heresy awaits our trio in the grim darkness of the far future? Find out now in the first episode of the Valentine Heresy, where the Emperor protects the righteous, and only the righteous.
In the grim darkness of the future, there is only war. But there still remains a hope for all mankind. The Emperor, on his golden throne, reigns over the Imperium of Man, one gleaming hope for humanity against a galaxy that seeks to kill it, a galaxy of dangerous aliens, of mutant horrors, of the warp, of chaos. And it's his body that is torn from its throne, the last thing keeping his decaying carrion corpse alive, and thrown at your feet. You hear a death rattle, one last gurgle from an ancient, decrepit body before the last hope of humanity is snuffed out. Before you, you see 10 figures standing in shadow, each of them vaguely recognizable from the mechano-arm of a tech priest, the distinct outline of Space Marine armor, the clinking fetishes of a Chaos Marine, the robes of a diplomat. You see these figures, and your brain struggles to understand what's happening. The Emperor on Terra has been untouchable since the Horus Heresy. His mind cast out into the warp to keep humanity together, and yet here stand these 10 figures that have somehow managed to pull the last hope for humanity's survival amongst the stars out of the only thing keeping it alive. You glimpse each of them in turn. You overhear snippets of conversation. One of them seems to be larger than the others, speaking in a more relaxed tongue, and you watch as this figure sort of steps before you, and you recognize the bulge of muscles and the huge teeth of an orc standing in the most holy sight of all of humanity. And you watch as this orc urinates on the corpse laying before you, laughing. You watch as they begin to examine the throne, begin to disassemble this ancient piece of technology from the Dark Age as they strip it for parts. You watch this, and the world you know and everything you've been taught to believe begins to fall away as you realize that the entire universe is about to plunge into darkness. And Inquisitor Valentine, that's when you awake. You awake to a sense of rushing air across your face. The last you can remember before the horrific scene of blasphemy you just witnessed was being aboard a ship. This ship, Gilead's Fist, en route out of a sector of really no import, on your way to report back to the Inquisition. But the odd thing about Dauntless-class frigates is the air circulation in them has never been particularly good. So the fact that there's wind on your face is somewhat concerning. You remember a sound of rending metal. You remember the sound of screams. And then you remember the death of the Emperor. As you struggle to gain your bearings, you realize there's wind on your face because you can see the sky. And as you begin to blink the twisted images of the warp that still threaten to shred your very sanity, you see clouds, and they're moving quickly. And you breathe in through your nose and smell air, fresh air. And you realize you're falling. The ship is falling. And it can barely be called a ship anymore, because all around you, pieces of the Gilead's Fist are plummeting towards an unknown planet. What do you do?
I look for an escape pod immediately. Dauntless are how big, Tom? Are these like hunter size, or are they bigger?
They're smallish on the scale of craft. They're kind of like second last tier, so still big enough to be a proper frigate. Still definitely has a large-ish crew. You don't command your own vehicle. You're kind of catching a ride. And as you kind of get your bearings, suddenly you can hear the alarm klaxons. You see a servitor skull bounce down the deck beside you, and you realize that the deck is beginning to slant. Even though you're falling through vertical space, I want you to imagine the equivalent of a ship going down. So the ground is on a 45-degree angle. As you look around...
Damn, it's so warm. It's 20 Celsius outside, and I need to open the window and turn the fan on.
From one of the nearby hallways. And you seem to be in almost a meeting room. You recognize it as where you held a couple of briefings with some of the command crew just to inform them of your purpose and, check your credentials and all that. Looking around, you see a few bodies. You can see one looks like a lieutenant that you had lunch with a couple times, caught halfway in and out of the ship on a rent piece of metal, his body fluttering in the wind as the ship begins to plummet. From your remembering of the ship, the escape pods would be fairly close by, given that you're kind of near where the command crew hangs out. But, this is more a question for you than for me. How aware is Valentine of his surroundings on a ship, do you think?
Probably aware of his surroundings functionally at most times. From a mechanical perspective, he's got very, very high perception. His whole thing is to keep track of. But I feel like he doesn't know, other than the broad strokes of how ships work, he'd know the things he would need to know, which is like, where are the captain's quarters? Where's his way out? Where are the ways between the people you need to talk to? That's probably it.
Okay, cool. So you begin to struggle to your feet, which is difficult given, again, the incline and also the sort of lower sea chaos occurring around you. What do you look like?
Inquisitor Valentine, Inquisitor Lucius Valentine, is about 6'3", 6'4". He's tall, he's lean. He looks late 20s, early 30s. He's probably a little bit older. Like, he'd have treatments because they'd be delaying age, because if he's an Inquisitor, they'd want to keep him alive. He's probably closer to like 40, 45, but still pretty youthful, pretty spry. He looks like, if you're to take John Krasinski and add 15% Stephen Merchant. So there's a little bit of chipper British man inside a John Krasinski type. He's dressed like an Imperial Commissar. So a long black leather coat. It's very severe looking. He's got an armored breastplate that's got like the Imperial Aquila, which is like a two-headed eagle in gold across the front of it. Guns on his hips. He's got a chain sword. And he wears like a military peaked cap. It has the Inquisition eye on it. So he can wear that, but if he takes it off, no one knows that he is Inquisition. Probably the most defining thing about him, other than that uniform, which is very recognizable for anyone in the Astra Militarum, is his eyes are bionic. If you look at them, they're actually steel, and then it's emerald around the irises. And depending on where the light catches him, it's just got that, like when you see a dog at night with the light reflecting in the eyes, they're there. And then there's scar tissue that goes basically in almost a full circle around his head, over the nose to the metal eyes, and around to his ears, which it's subtler to see, but his ears are also just steel mesh inside. He also has bionic ears, and it breaks the hairline around his head. So when the cap's on, it can like hide the sides of it, but you can't miss the kind of side scarring. He tends towards sunshades when he's meeting new people or wanting to stay inconspicuous, just because the eyes are so finely done that it's very clear he's very important, whereas sunshades can help him blend in when necessary.
Okay, so with that in mind, then, I think we're going to go ahead and say it's pretty easy for you to find a escape pod, because being someone who spends a lot of time kind of observing your surroundings, that's a thing you would notice. Like, my dad worked in crisis consulting for a long time, and like any airplane he's ever been on, he counts the seats to the exit, and it's just a thing he naturally does. So I feel like it's that mentality. So you begin to force your way, and it very much is like you can feel the ship is now becoming debris. Like the actual superstructure is beginning to implode. As you know, the Gothic fleet is not meant for atmosphere. So this is rapidly becoming like the world's worst drop pod, but no one in it's wearing armor. So it's going to be a very squishy drop pod. You begin to claw your way up the deck as the ship begins to fall around you. And ahead, as you reach the corridor that has the pods, you see just a couple of Navy troopers get tossed full on up against the pod wall. You hear a sickening crunch as one of them just fully breaks against it. The other one, she gets to her knee and just starts offloading with a las rifle, or las gun, I suppose, down the hall. And out of the sort of darkness comes a twisting horror that at one point probably had some amount of humanity, but the warp has affected it the ways that the warp's known to do. So this abomination begins clawing its way towards the Navy trooper who is opening fire. What do you do?
Is it steep enough that I can stand, Tom, or am I crawling?
You're standing, but it's very much like, walking up a stupid hill.
Yeah, I think he would reach up. He's got a necklace that hangs on like a very sturdy chain around his neck, and at the end is a symbol of the Inquisition with a red ruby in the center. And he would just press the ruby, and then around him, a refractor field would spin into place, which is a personal force field that shimmers a little bit in the air around him. And I think he would just draw his bolt pistol and say, "Oh, well, the Emperor loves to put challenges in front of us, doesn't he?" And then he would just raise his bolt pistol and chainsword in the other hand, and then he'd just start shooting towards it. If it's between him and the pod, then game on.
Meanwhile, Laura and Tyler, the two of you are, on paper, incredibly lucky people. As humanity is stretched across the stars, all manner of habitation has begun. Some is very classy, very plush, admittedly still in a grim, dark way, so everything's still pointing their skulls everywhere, but like plush skulls. And the points are extra sharp. And there are some tremendous cesspools, the death worlds, the places where it's you versus a jungle full of velociraptors, and that's just a day for you. So the two of you are very lucky because you have grown up in one of humanity's greatest endeavors, one of humanity's greatest hopes. You have grown up in Galen's Glory, the first and, to your knowledge, only dome city in the sector. So Galen's Glory is a massive, massive, massive reinforced glass dome that from space almost looks like a blister on the surface of the planet. Just as kind of a general visual reference, nice things in the 40K universe tend to be very gilt gold, bronze, brass, very steampunk almost. But like proper ugly steampunk involves a lot of oil and grease and everything's kind of gross. So don't think like beautiful glass dome. Think like the image I have in my head is kind of like a Victorian greenhouse. So just like they tried to make it nice, but there's just so much shit in the air that it doesn't
Is it
work.
like a fish tank that hasn't been cleaned?
Yeah, kind of. It would be like if you took the Rapture Dome from BioShock and had it topside in kind of like a Badlands desert type planet, except for this blister. So inside Galen's Glory, in theory, was supposed to be like a habitat-controlled, climate-controlled dome, and a chance for humanity to reclaim a little bit of the luxury and a little bit of sort of the posh lifestyle that existed back in the dark age of technology that has since been lost. But as with most of humanity's grander endeavors in this grimdark universe of ours,
mission is finished.
it has truly gone to shit. And what was built with the best of intentions has now become a cesspool. But on paper, you are very, very lucky, because who wouldn't want to live in humanity's first climate-controlled dome in a generation? Inside Galen's Glory is a hive city. So the hive cities of the 40K universe are essentially urban sprawl, but if it happened vertically. Over the span of generations, slowly, the equivalent of a metal anthill begins to form. And in an alarmingly literal visual metaphor for how capitalism grinds people down, there are some real shady floors to this hive. And while the people up top are still able to like vaguely convince themselves that they're living in this luxury dome, everyone down below knows the truth. And the truth is that Galen's Glory is a fucking death pit, just like everywhere else in the goddamn galaxy. And if there's one person who knows that, it's you, Lyric. You know this better than almost anyone. You spent your whole life in this fucking dome and in this fucking hive.
My mind index is too low.
I've seen a couple of sort of strange oddities from the nightmares that you are told live outside the dome in the wastelands. You're well aware that inside isn't much safer. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's more dangerous because at least out there, you know that you're low on the food chain. Whereas in here, everyone seems to convince themselves that they're somewhere further up than they actually are. So, Lyric, you and your younger brother have been surviving in Galen's Glory for as long as you can remember. You had parents at some point, but everyone had parents at some point. Doesn't really matter. What matters is you got tough and you got tough fast. And you got tough so he didn't have to. And well, he still has to survive in the lower levels with you. You've managed to spare him from some of the true horrors of living down here. Lyric, what do you look like?
I basically look like if Sinead O'Connor got in like daily fights, kind of medium build, but athletic. My head is just like buzzed. I wear tactical clothing. Like all my clothing is tactical. It's kind of like a deep crimson red with kind of silver and gray buckles, gray combat boots. And you can see scars from like fights that I've had, like all my face and arms. And I always have a bruise on me somewhere, but that's just kind of the nature of where we live.
Gotcha. You're in a rare position today of actually having a not terrible day, which for you, Lyric, is kind of like the best day that could happen.
Yeah.
Your most recent job was for one of the gangs that you sort of intellectually and ethically don't love. They're called the Gnashers because they file their teeth to points. A lot of people on the street in the lower levels would say that there are rumors about them being cannibals. You are fully aware that these are not rumors, but very, very much confirmed facts.
Yeah.
But despite that unfortunate oddity, they are actually pretty solid when it comes to making sure you get paid on time. So you recently finished a job with the Gnashers. As you can imagine, for people who file their teeth, and really that's their thing, dental care is actually a high concern. So it was a strange job, but a lucrative one, where you managed to hijack a shipment of what would essentially be a bleaching agent for teeth that also has some kind of restorative properties, a little bit like fluoride, but like grimdark fluoride.
Where are those I need to kill?
Fluoricide. You managed to hijack
Pressed blood strips.
Yeah, it's just the toothpaste is named the same way they name paints. So you managed to hijack a shipment of fluoricide, and they were super happy, and their party was alarmingly demure for a
I need to go up
cannibalistic
here.
murderers, where they were all dipping their teeth in a cup and just like, they're like, we can't eat for a few hours, and here's your money. So despite the kind of uncomfortable company, for once you actually have a fistful of credits. So the region that you and your brother live in is lovingly known as the Glory Hole, because there's a certain tone that comes with living in somewhere that is still advertised on almost every corner, particularly in these lower levels, as paradise. So you are constantly inundated with fucking chippy, cheerful, welcome to Galen's Glory posters everywhere. And they're all defaced and old, but built of sturdy stuff. It's a little bit like if the apocalypse happened and you were forced to live in Disneyland. It's kind of infuriating how naive these people were to think that this would work out.
I think a long time ago, I stopped being actively like mad at that stuff.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
more like I pass it by and I can like crack a sign with the butt of my gun casually as I pass.
Sure. And I think that's pretty common down here because, again, there's so few options. That's kind of all there is. But for someone who has never experienced any form of luxury in her life, the idea of people coming, particularly to a planet that is actively and aggressively trying to murder you if you're outside the dome, high radiation levels, bad solar shielding. The only reason anyone is alive on this planet is because of this dome. So fuck you. This was a dumb place to live. But as I said, you have some money in hand today, and that means that you're going to be able to surprise your brother. That's as close to luxury as I think you can get in this kind of hellscape. So with your knuckles still hurting from the guard whose jaw you broke, you walk into almost like a canteen bodega kind of joint that is sort of a combination general store and watering hole. Ryan, what is the name of this bar?
Blanc's Cabin.
So you walk into Blanc's Cabin, and as you do, you tap the helmet that's just above the door. It is an ancient Space Marine helmet that has been lovingly dubbed Blanc because, as the urban legend goes, that's the sound his head made when I bashed it off the ground. Space Marines are essentially legend at this point. You've never seen one.
Oh, God, no.
Despite what all the Warhammer promotional material would have you believe, they're not a common sight. Unlike all my friends in high school who all had them, including me. So think like in the way that Star Wars, like people like know of Darth Vader, but like no one sees Darth Vader. It's like that, but on a really, really grand scale. There's no reason to believe in these sort of mythical things. And to you, it just looks like a fancy person helmet, for lack of a better term. Does look functional and looks like high tech and stuff, but I get the sense you don't really trust technology too far, which makes sense given that you're living in like the death throes of a cesspool.
Yeah. No, I get that people use it and it's fine, but doesn't do me any fucking good.
No. So you tap Blanc on the way in, and you look around, and there's the usual assortment of ne'er-do-wells. The kind of aesthetic of this place is like if a Blade Runner city existed in Mad Max. So outside the dome is like very Mad Max. Inside the dome is a more civilized version of the Mad Max aesthetic, but it is still that kind of rough and tumble, we've repurposed everything vibe. And despite the air controls, everything's just always a little bit dusty. Like there's just a bit of sand kind of everywhere at all times. What you know kind of from what Kel taught you back when she was still kicking is that all of the environmental controls degraded years ago. And basically, nothing's being filtered anymore. It's just pumping out whatever was in the filter. So the air is always thick with both heat and also just a sense of staleness. So you walk into Blanc's and you have a goal. And your goal is to find something your brother would like. Because he was a little bit put out that he didn't get to go on this particular mission with you. But to your mind, there are certain crews that you're very happy to have him on board with. But like, he has a very, very specific skill set that's very good, but completely useless to a gang like the Nashers, who are real smash and grab, stick around and fight some people types, whereas his specialties lie more so in the I'll get you out of there and then disappear kind of tactics. So it's kind of an I'm sorry, but also kind of for you I got this. What do you think you're going to try and get him?
I think I want to get him something that will entertain him. Like if there's any sort of new game, I think we have like super shitty consoles because Jesus Christ, he needs some stimulation in his life.
Okay, so you know that there is a hacker, and again, like, I really can't stress enough how fucked the state of technology is in the 40K universe. So much knowledge has been lost that it's a lot of repurposing, similar to kind of how the Fallout games deal with technology, where it's like there's just a lot of stuff and people don't necessarily know what it was for, but it could be for this. And the interesting thing about Galen's Glory is there was a lot of incredibly avant-garde and edgy tech here back when it started, and there still is in the upper levels. But it also means that you occasionally find gearheads who are good at this sort of stuff. So you find your old friend Taz, who is just a proper meat slab of a human, but has incredibly, incredibly delicate hands. And you see him hunched as he always is over a circuit board, and he's using those hands in a way that you've always kind of envied because you've always been a bit more brute forcey, and the precision with which he tries to rework technology has always been kind of fascinating to you. And he was expecting you because you put this order in a while ago, and he's been building a rudimentary flight simulator because you know that your brother loves going fast. So if he could go fast and up, that's the fucking dream. And both of you in your, I think probably him out loud and more you internally, the idea of getting off this fucking planet, the planet of Vermeer, has always been very, very high on your list. But it's like wishing to win the lottery. It's of no value to you because you can't affect it. So when I say a rudimentary flight simulator, I'm talking like some Pong ass shit. Like it is full on black and green screen.
And imagine it like block out. Kind of
it's basically and it's not really 3D. It's kind of 2D, but with that way that people, admittedly, very brilliantly found to break old text to make
Fox on Super Nintendo.
Oh, in Elite, exactly. I'm not going to go in there, that's for sure.
Earlier, like on Atari and stuff, just an interesting way to kind of break it. So pretty rudimentary, but you know, it'll probably blow his mind. Taz just looks up and says, "Oh, Lyric, well, you're back. Did they take any bites out of you, or they get their meal elsewhere today?"
Oh, because they're cannibals.
Yeah. That's that was the joke.
I have no idea.
Typical Lyric. All right, well, listen, hope the kid likes this. It's a bit wonky. Sometimes you have to blow in it to make the game work. It's a reference for people who were born in the 80s. So,
They're 46,000.
Yes, in Galen years.
What year is this?
There is a Galen calendar. Nice. So, you are in the Galen 90s. So it's 398.
Okay.
So
say, Tom, nerd Ryan.
Yeah, get in here, bud.
When it comes to timeline, Are we pre the latest edition of 40K with the Indominus Crusade?
Right fucking now, baby. Indominus is in full.
Gilliman's alive.
Gilliman's alive. The fucking, whatever the hell that tear is that's ripping up the
right
galaxy.
through the middle of the galaxy. It's a train wreck.
Grork's Smile, I believe, is the only one I can remember offhand because blah. But yes, we're right up to date because I thought that would be the most interesting.
Great.
So I'm sorry, 390s is not nearly long enough for a hive city to exist. So we'll just say that you're calling it the 90s.
I was going to say 390 just depends on how fast they go around the sun.
Oh, actually, yeah. No, that's a valid point. That's a very valid point, Ryan. Thank you. So yes, 398, but it's been a while. Yeah. As a general rule, almost everything in the Imperium is like super old, even the new stuff. So whatever I say, just add a bunch of fucking years onto it.
Nice.
Yeah. Here's my question to you, Laura.
Yeah.
You actually find yourself with a bit more cash in hand than you expected, possibly because they felt bad they couldn't share their meal and or tooth whitening with you. Do you pay Taz exactly how much you owe him? Do you pay him more, or do you try and talk him down?
I pay him exactly what I owe him because it's the price that we agreed upon when we last spoke.
Good.
And he will get no more, no less.
Cool. He also doesn't know you got a tip, so he's just like, this is acceptable. Yeah, great. And he says, one of these days, you got to figure out something for you, huh?
What do you mean?
Give it a think. Maybe one day I can just make something for you.
Okay,
gotta
like
be something
what?
you want. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe I can, up the voltage on your electro whip. That seems to be a thing you like.
What, can you do that now?
And he holds up the exact amount you just paid him. He's like, when you've got this much again, I sure as shit can.
And I literally pull out the exact same amount. Because I have it on me. Because I literally just came from those stupid cannibals.
I'm thinking you spent that amount to get this thing. Money is hard to come by in your world.
No, right. Yeah, fine. I'm going to go do another fucking job and I'll be back. So be ready.
And he wiggles his fingers and he's like, what the fuck else do you think I do?
I assume you get ready.
That is exactly what I was alluding to, yes.
Yeah, no, you're great. This is why I keep coming back to you.
Well, thanks, Lyric. That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me. And with that, you head out of Blanc's cabin and you start making your way home. Speaking of home, Tyler, you have had to amuse yourself or keep yourself busy for the past couple days, knowing that yet again, Lyric has cut you out of a plan. And well, admittedly, you're not quite sure how you could have been useful. You're pretty sure you could have been useful.
Definitely.
Who are you and what do you look like? And more importantly, what are you doing as you're stuck home alone?
I'm Lyric's younger brother, Alto. Alto's a young guy. He's like early 20s. He has the same kind of physique as Tom Holland when he's in like Spider-Man mode. So he's like got a compact, like not bulky at all, short guy kind of body. He has a metal plate shaped to the back of his head. And while he does look quite slim and small, he wears a night cloak, which is clearly too big for him. It's definitely made for like an adult person, but he wears it. He has a utility mechadendrite that he wears as like a backpack underneath this cloak. So when he's wearing it all, he looks a little bit bigger. He looks like a hunchback, basically. It's basically, and so what he's actually doing is without the cloak, he's got the manipulator arm on his back, and he's basically bouncing a ball against the wall and trying to catch it with this utility mechadendrite, just to make sure that he's got good reflexes within that, like the actuators are responding and stuff like that. And if he's like not able to catch it, he'll like take it off and tinker with it some more.
What's your apartment situation?
It is basically a hole in the wall with some emergency exits already taken care of in case we need to bolt at any given time. There's very little in the way of personal effects here. Basically nothing that can't just be thrown into a bag and carried out immediately. And I think the back wall has been blasted out and then covered with maybe a big blanket just like draped over the wall with like a design on it. So it kind of looks like a really shitty tapestry, but it's just covering like an opening that we can run out when we need to. It's got like 2 cots for us to sleep on and not much else. There's a table with a lamp and there's clearly some equipment on there like ammunition and things like that. But I'm basically tilting the chair back, bouncing this ball across the room because it's so narrow and small and trying to catch it with my mechadendrite.
So as you toss the ball for the umpteenth time, because you stopped counting, also it's hard to count when you're mostly worried about calibration on a piece of tech you've kind of had to build yourself. You go to catch it and you miss, But it's the damnedest thing because, like, you know, a bunch of these times it's been because your calibration's been off. This time your calibration was definitely on. And it takes you sort of a moment to realize why. And when the realization hits you, you kind of feel your stomach drop because you realize the wall is shaking so violently that the ball bounced off it at a different trajectory. And then the floor begins to rumble. And that's when you hear the first explosion. So as you rush to the entranceway and kind of like, I don't imagine it's a proper door. It's probably something you've wedged in there. You pull it aside and you see a cathedral falling from the sky. You see massive chunks of Gothic architecture and metal, and it takes your mind a moment to realize that this is in fact a ship and not architecture. And the shaking is from the first impact against the dome. The dome has been a constant in your existence since you were born. You've certainly dreamt of flight and of space, but the dome is the only sky you've ever really known. It was never anything but a given. And that's why when the next piece of debris that hits it shatters a chunk of it, you realize that your whole world is quite literally about to fall apart. And as the first blast of fresh air that you've ever smelt reaches your nose, you think you can hear roars in the distance as all the things that the dome has kept away begin to close in around it. As the chunks of this ship continue to plummet, you see more and more cracks, but above it there's something dark. And as your eyes kind of adjust, you realize that it's the main body of the ship. And it is so large that it blots out most of the sky. And it is plummeting directly for the dome. Your first thought is to Lyric, who is currently on her way back. What do you do?
I think about Lyric and then the training that she and Kel have both hammered into me of, okay, this place is compromised. We have to go to our secondary location. Grab your go bag and go. So I throw on my night cloak, I grab my go bag, and I'm out through the hole in the wall behind our fucking rinky-dink little apartment that we've got here. And I'm on my way to like a hovel under like a bridge network.
So I'm going to say this is Kel's bolt hole. Kel, of course, being the woman who essentially raised you, sort of a hardened bounty hunter who had a number of these bolt holes throughout the city. And basically the idea was if anything goes wrong, you go to the first one. If things are really bad, you go to the second one. And if things go completely pear-shaped, there's like a third one you don't talk about. But she was so paranoid that even though she loved and cared for both of you very much, she still never gave you the location of that third hole. But she did tell you that if things went really, really hairy, get to this hovel in the underpass and that there'd be more instructions there. The sense you always got from her was that as a woman who took a lot of professional risks but did everything she could to mitigate them, she always seemed to hint that she had a way out of the city, which seems insane because no one leaves the city. But you do remember her showing Lyric a sort of long, pale, pinkish, three-jointed finger once that she claimed to have gotten from a hunt outside the dome. So you kind of feel like, in addition to it being a regrouping point, your only way out of here might be
only 5 more kills.
So you begin to run there. Lyric, do you go back to the apartment or do you go to the bolt hole?
I
wonder if
have
it's
spent so
correct
much
or
time training Alto to make sure that what he does in case of an emergency are just like complete second nature, that I have to trust that he's followed that. So I have to go to the bolt hole where I trust he'll be.
Okay. So you begin to rush your way there, and that's roughly when the screams begin. Meanwhile, Inquisitor Valentine, you feel your bolt pistol click dry, having now dropped several of these former crewmen. And you realize, as you kind of observe the corridors that they're spilling out of, that the very ship itself seems to be, in some ways, twisted and touched by chaos. For you, every time you close your eyes, you see these figures, these 10 figures around the Golden Throne. You hear the sickening squelch of the Emperor's body hitting the ground in front of you, which is truly the most, almost comically blasphemous thing you can think of. And you can feel your very sanity balancing on the precipice. You can hear more shouts coming from further down the corridor, but you have managed to clear your way to the escape pods. There's now, for lack of a better term, a trench of dead mutants around you. The crew member you saved, she's badly injured, but is still conscious. Meanwhile, you can feel, again, the ship is screaming at this point. The metal is doing that horrible sound that heavy metal tearing does. That is, again, just a highly unnatural sound. And whenever you've looked down, you've seen what almost looks like a mirage, sort of a glimmering surface beneath you. But whatever it is, it's coming up damn fast. So my question to you is, do you go and attempt to save the rest of the crew? Do you grab this crew member and hop in? Or do you just hop in the pod?
I'll grab this crew member and hop in. He'd look after himself and he'd do what he's supposed to, but he'd like grit his teeth, kind of grab her by the collar if she's down and drag her into the pod. Just along the way, trying to hang on to his sanity, kind of starting to be like, it's a great day for the Emperor, great day. And then he'd just turn around and whistle. And that skull that was on the floor that we heard hit earlier just zips around the corner flying. And he's like, oh, good, Eugene,
what?
inside. And Eugene, the Loudhaler skull, will also fly into the pod. And then the moment everybody's in, he'll figure out however these eject. And
Sure. So the Navy officer just puts her hand up. She's like, wait. And then she just pulls out her dagger and jams it into a tentacle that was starting to slink around the edge of the door. And it does that weird, like, I don't know why tentacles always scream in movies, but it's like, and it gets pulled out with her dagger. And she's like, didn't have a ticket. And she slams the door. And then she just points at a button and passes out.
Great. I'm going to hit the button first.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long do I think I have till impact? Basically, if he thinks he could strap both of them in, he'd do it. But if he can only strap one person in, he'd strap himself in.
Realistically, falling pretty fast. Also, you're in an escape pod meant for space.
Strapping himself in.
Yeah, right. So you strap yourself in. Do you grab Eugene, or you just trust that he'll kind of bumble around in the cabin?
I think I'd probably grab him. Like, he'd fly around, but it's going to be a collision. So if I could, like, pin him in webbing for, the loose stuff where I jam him in, and then I'd probably just do gritted teeth, be praying on the way down. It's like, dear God, Emperor. So it's Lucius. This is obviously not the best day, but it's a good day. It's a good day. Don't worry, it's a good day. If you could spare your servant on the other side of this, that would be super. Because, or not, also super. Everything is good. And then he's just hurtling through space.
So the pod, as soon as you press the button, launches. So it's the classic, like, oh shit, like you're webbing yourself in as it's jettisoning. Immediately, it's just spinning, fucking cartwheeling down through space. You can feel the thrusters firing in every direction as this thing tries to right itself. But if you think about it, for something that's supposed to fire in a vacuum, it's literally just launching a weird cannonball. And you can see other pods launching, but as the viewport flashes past you a couple of times, you see the Gilead's fist just pummel
189 kills.
And completely shatter it. And then as the pod begins to right itself, you see a sight that you've always considered, hypothetically, because it's the kind of thing that you've always been curious about. But the question was always, in a siege, how would one breach a hive city? And the answer is, you drive an entire ship into it, and you see a sight that very few in the Imperium of Man have ever seen. You see a hive city collapse. And that's when your pod crashes through a bridge and into the ground. A few moments later, Lyric, you rush up to the hovel to see Alto looking at the smoking wreckage of what looks like an escape pod. The bridge that the hovel was hidden under is now a pile of rubble cushioning this escape pod. And you see other pods beginning to kind of like hit the ground around you. Meanwhile, behind you, there's a massive blast of dust and dirt as the hive city begins to implode. You can hear screams, you can hear shooting, and in the distance, you think you can see small, pale white things begin to spill up and over the cracks in the dome. But none of that matters for the moment, because Alto is okay.
Yeah. Alto, you're intact?
Oh, hi, Lyric. Yeah. I like pat down my chest. I'm like, yeah.
The robot arm is just like also patting you down.
Yeah. All my bits and pieces are still with me. Yeah.
Okay, good. And you got all the essentials, right?
I just grabbed my go bag. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. You did what you had to do. All right, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. That's makes sense. Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm fine. Let's move. Okay.
Alto, you produce the map that had been stowed away by Kel for the two of you. And unfortunately, it was pretty much all you were able to grab before the hovel was decimated by the collapsing bridge. There was more to the package, but you managed to get a letter and the map, but there was something on a chain that you weren't quite able to get that is now well gone. And the map points to something called the astral line. And Alto, this is something that you have hoped was real pretty much your whole life. There was always talk that the great architect Galen was planning a series of interconnected colonies that would be connected by something called the astral line. It was a way for colonists to travel between the planets without having to brave the perils of the warp through a series of essentially rail-launched ships. So think like a rail cannon with a ship attached to it. So less need for fuel. It was an easier way to get off planet. And if true, this could be a way for you and Lyric to get off world. I don't know how sentimental Alto is. Would you read this letter?
Yeah, oh yeah, he would read it. Yeah, definitely. If it's something that Kel left and it's like new, like it's like Kel's been gone so long and here's this letter from her. Like that's amazing.
So it just says, well, hey kids, if you're reading this, I'm probably pretty fucking dead. And I gotta tell you, I'm not mad when I'm writing this, but I'm probably mad now. Because being dead is for fucking losers. And
I'm just
I'm
over his shoulder. Over his shoulder being like, God, she was so long-winded.
If I know Lyric, she's bitching about how long this letter is. Alto, you be a good boy and tell her to shut the fuck up, because I'm dead and she's got to listen to me. I'll wait.
Lyric, Kel says I have to tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
so
no,
shut the fuck up. Kel told me that I'm allowed to say it. So
yeah, thanks, kiddo. Keep reading.
Shut up, Lyric.
You sure that went over real good? Listen, if you're at the second location, that means things went real tits up, and I'm sorry I'm not there to help you, but I did leave something for you just in case. As you probably determined from looking at this here map that I painstakingly hand drew, Lyric, I love you. There is a way off this hellhole, but I gotta tell you, I've been from one side of this galaxy to the other, and there's not much better out there, so only go if you really gotta. I told your sister this, but I didn't tell either of you. I came by my skills not growing up as hive rats like you two clowns, but I served under an inquisitor back in the day, and we traveled around a bit, and we saw some things, and I gotta tell you, it's a big fucking scary galaxy out there, and it is worse than you can possibly imagine. But if things have gotten bad here, then you gotta go. The astral line was meant to be a way for agents of the Inquisition to get planet to planet without anyone paying too much notice. Old Galen was quite nice to us inquisitory folk, and luckily I still got my credentials. So if you use the icon I left you there on my precious icon chain, this will get you in there, and after that it's up to you. Galaxy's yours, kids. Go fuck them up.
Alto's like turning over the envelope, checking the back of the paper, being like,
yeah, so that's a bug. When I level up now, it automatically shows one talent in Letting Sanctuary, even though I don't have any points in protection.
I just put like my hands
So I guess I need to try respec. Respec is free at the moment, so it doesn't really matter.
I could probably get us on.
Can you? Well, then let's go.
Okay.
Lyric, you hear a sound that Kel had described to you a number of times. And looking over your shoulder, it's like a cross between a leech and a human.
Okay.
The face is mostly teeth. The legs seem to have kind of withered to a point that they're no longer usable, but the arms are long with multi-articulated fingers. And you hear one of these things hissing behind you, and behind it you see more. And as the wind blows across your face, you realize that what everyone spent so long trying to keep outside is now inside. And as you fall into a combat stance, you see these things coming up over the wreckage around you in all directions. And that's when you hear the roar of a chainsword. And dragging himself
I guess
out
I will
of the
try
escape
to
pod with
respec
Eugene under his arm
when I go back
is Inquisitor
to...
Valentine. Valentine, you see a couple of weird hive dwellers And it seems to be a bunch of mutant monstrosities. They don't look chaos necessarily. They look more radiation-y to your eye, but still a threat and still very present. Good news is you just heard them bicker pretty hard about a way off this planet. And in the brief moments you were blacked out, standing back in the throne room, you managed to see something. And you get the sense that now, whenever you dream, more of this dark vision will be revealed. But on the woman dressed in robes, you're able to catch just the corner of a tablet as the servitor skull scanned it with light. The date is exactly 1
At
year
level
from
40,
today,
I get my
which
first
means you had
riding
exactly
mount.
1 year
It's
to find these 10 conspirators and
really
put an
nice
end
because
to
the
blasphemy
movement
that
speed is
will
then
destroy the Imperium.
60% increased.
Unfortunately, your crew is dead. You haven't been an Inquisitor for very long, pretty much since right before you got on this ship. And the second thing you saw in the darkness was a very distinctive inquisitorial badge hanging around this woman's neck. So you're kind of in need of allies. And as luck would have it, it seems your prayers are answered. Because here are two, and they need your help. Turns out, Inquisitor Valentine, you were right. It is a good day. What do you say to them?
Congratulations. You're both under the employ of the Inquisition. Let's kill these mutants.
And though they didn't know it at the time, Imperial records would later show that this specific moment, this meeting of these three people, was the beginning of the infamous Valentine heresy.
This episode of the Valentine Heresy features Ryan LaPlante, at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, as Inquisitor Lucius Valentine, Tyler Hewitt, at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Alto, Laura Hamstra, at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Lyric, and our Game Master, Tom McGee, at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentine Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic, at delborovic.com, DELBOROVIC. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice. And most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time, Christian Menicola.
Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I am Inquisitor Caveat Ventus, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentine Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee, Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentine, Laura Elizabeth as Lyric, and Tyler Hewitt as Alto. My report shows that Inquisitor Valentine survived the crash of his vessel while receiving visions of the Emperor's death. Meanwhile, Lyric and Alto were forced into his presence by the breaching of their hive. Will this trio find common ground while battling deadly mutants? Find out next in this episode of the Valentine Heresy.
From the writings of Cullis Pollitt, former General, Admiral, and Sergeant. When they announced they were building these fucking domes, everyone got so excited. And I gotta tell you, I have led campaigns from one side of this galaxy to the other. And never have I heard a stupider idea than building a dome on an irradiated planet. When you think about what happens to organic matter on an irradiated planet, and you're telling me that a bunch of glass is going to just keep that from coming in and fucking up all the idiots who decide to live there because they want something fancy? Well, I'll tell you what happens. What happens is exactly what fucking happened to Dome Number 9. I mean, sure, no one expected a ship to drop on it, but really, the mutants of the Outlands, that they should have been fucking expecting. This book is no longer available at Imperial libraries. Welcome back to the Valentine Heresy. As with all great historical events, this one begins with a relatively simple matter of survival. 3 solitary figures against a veritable wave of irradiated, mutated humans who were not so lucky to get to live inside Galen's Glory, the domed hive city that is currently imploding all around you as massive spacefaring vessel meets big, poorly planned metropolis. The 3 of you are unlikely allies in a lot of ways, and yet circumstances have thrust you together. And knowing that your only way off planet and away from the horrors that are unfolding will require all of you, you suddenly find yourselves a team. And as Valentine put it, official members of the Inquisition. So congratulations, Lyric and Alto, on your battlefield promotions. Let us fight! I'm not a fan of worrying too much about how initiative runs here. I'm going to say, Valentine, I think you have the initiative in this situation, only because of the 3, you came straight out of a combat situation into another combat situation. So I think in a lot of ways, this is just the same encounter for you.
Yeah.
So I'll give you first turn. If you imagine a circular map, we've got the hovel at the north tip of it. You guys are near that. It was under an overpass. The overpass was hit by Valentine's pod, so it is now collapsed. But basically, you've got the sloping rampway up over the hovel. The closest wall of the dome is beyond that, further north. Behind you is the Hive City proper. Now, keep in mind, you're still in the hive. It's a sprawl, but if we're talking rings, you're 3 rings from the wall. So you're within sight, but it's still a bit of a distance away. Unfortunately, getting here gave the mutants enough time to spill in from all the increasingly cracked walls. Plus, one of the engines literally took out half of one of the retaining walls, so they're just fully spilling in now. If we're looking north to the hovel, to the west or the left is where the crash pod is. So that's where Valentine and Eugene just struggled out of. There are more pods falling that way, and you can see figures starting to climb out of those. There are no mutants in that direction yet, but you can hear screams coming from that direction. Now, if we look south and to the east, that's where we've got full-on rubble overpass with mutants spilling out of it. So the majority of them are there. However, one is slithering up the overpass over top of the hovel. So you're rapidly being surrounded. In your immediate vicinity, there are 6. All of them are at equal distance right now, and there are more coming up behind them. Alto, you've got the means in your hands to figure out how to get out of here, but currently you guys could run, but where the fuck are you going to run to?
I've overheard the thing about the line.
Yeah, the bickering that Tyler and Laura literally did during it, I think, was throughout, to a point that all the available information has been bickered out to you.
Cool. Tom, did I reload my pistol while I was in the pod? Cool. What I would say to them is, do you entirely know where this place is going to be? And he just raised his pistol and start shooting at the distance mutants. Chainsword in free hand for when they get close, but he'd stick to range until they were there and then say, do you know where we're going to this line? I think that'd be terribly useful.
Alto, kiddo, you got to figure this out.
Well, I mean, we got a map, but the city's looking, less and less like the map.
Yeah, but
right,
you
so quick
know
suggestion. How about we put him inside the pod, you hold the pod door, and then I'll stand here and keep the mutants busy. Everyone stay alive now. This is going to be a great deal of fun.
All right, and I grab Alto by the shoulders and I'm running with him. And the mutants are just like
they sound like dogs.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Someone at the door for
wonderful
Ripley?
mutants.
Nope. Probably in the hall. Anyway.
So I don't know if you guys have seen bolt weapons before because they are considered pretty rare in the Imperium. So they fire with a very loud bark from the weapon, and then you actually hear them when they hit the target. There's like a crump of an internal explosion because they are mass reactive rounds. So they fire with their own propellant, and then when they collide, they do a mini explosion.
Oh, wow.
Okay, great. So you're just blowing up leech people.
If I hit them.
Yeah.
East crossed.
Well, let's find out how that goes. Ryan, we're going to say these are at longish range for a pistol. So that is going to be a 3 purple base challenge rating. Having just survived a crash from space, I'm going to give you 1 black setback dice to make this a bit harder. And I'm going to give you a 2nd setback dice because you're still feeling the effects of the warp. And then beyond that, you're going to be using your...
It's agility, so I've got
agility
3 in that.
and your ranged light, I believe.
Yes, so I get 1 green die and 2 upgraded yellow die. And then, Tom, I actually have a power called Tempered Will, where I can remove 1 black die inflicted by critical injuries, being disoriented, or fear.
This is absolutely the right sense for that. So you checked your fingies and toes on the crash pod to make sure that you weren't afflicted by the warp, and it seems like everything's where it should be. So barring Eugene learning how to, like, fucking walk or something, you're in pretty good shape as warp events go. The rest of what happened up there is starting to come back slowly in terms of what you remember. But now it's neither the time nor the place. And honestly, it's going to be a pretty good day. So it's fine. You've got people to protect. There's a way off-world. This is all good. So you just stow all that. And even though you're still feeling the effects of it, you realize if you just focus on shooting mutants, which is kind of your version of data entry, you'll be fine. Your cybernetic eyes focus down the sight of your bolt pistol, and you see the first leech person come up over the ridge of the road. Open
so I
fire.
pull the trigger. Oh my god. The end result, 4 failures.
Oh!
Yeah, sometimes it be like that.
You blast this leech person with your bolt pistol. The bolt flies true. The leech person explodes in a Men in Black style goo burst. And you see all of them undulate, almost with pain. And then you see spikes begin to grow out of their skin, and they all begin to move twice as fast. It would seem that whatever they've evolved into might have some kind of hive mind and possibly some kind of defensive measure. So we have gone from 6, you killed 1, so we're down to 5, and now there are 9.
What a fun ability, gifted to them by undoubtedly the darkness in the universe. And then he's just going to, like, press the ruby on his thing, and the refractor field will spring back up around him. To be clear, you can see through it. It's not like a wall. It's just got a bit of a shimmer around where the light can catch it.
Okay, Lyric, I'm going to give you next initiative. Since Alto is distracted with the map and with the puzzle to be solved, what would you like to try and accomplish in your turn?
I'm going to draw my auto pistol and attempt to do auto fire. So it says I can trigger it by spending 2 advantage. So that's if I roll to hit and I get 2 advantage, it triggers?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay.
So advantage is a form of currency. So you can spend advantage to execute a critical. So if your weapon says, for example, critical 3, that means if you have 3 advantage, you can blow all 3 to trigger a critical injury on your opponent. Or weapons have special effects, whether that is auto fire, various other things.
So I'll want to activate it, so I have to increase the difficulty, adding a purple.
There was one coming over the hovel behind us.
And that's 100% the one that I wanted.
There was one, but then you failed 4 times. So now we'll say there's 2.
Well, then I'm going to try to hit those 2.
Great. So minus the 1 for your... Or sorry, you increased by 1.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right, so that's 5 purple.
Okay, so 5. Fuck.
Ay. And then what is your agility?
My agility is 3.
And what is your ranged light?
Believe it or not, I didn't make any investments in ranged light because I'm a fucking idiot.
No, because you're very agile.
You have other skills.
I have ranks in ranged heavy. That I know that doesn't
have to find you a heavier gun. So this is literally what story points exist for. So I've rolled the dice, and despite Ryan's terrible roll, I rolled well on your behalf. So you have 5 that you can spend. I have 1.
So I wanna upgrade 2 of my green to yellows. So
Sounds
that would
good.
be using 2 story points, right?
Yes, that is correct. And I'll keep track of these. So when in doubt, feel free to ask. So you upgrade 2 of your green to yellow. Your entire way of life is disappearing. There's only one way out. And also,
Yes.
weirdly, you spent up until now your whole life being the super capable one who really has this. If you get outside of the glory hole, it's kind of actually more Alto's world. So weirdly, this is I need to defend him so he can work whatever the fuck magic he can work.
Yeah.
So with that, you open fire. I'm just going to see if you need any other blues or setback dice. No, I think we're good.
All right, so I want to fire some shit.
Shooting turds out of that gun.
Yeah, that's all it is. Auto pistol.
It's a hive world.
Shit.
This makes sense.
1 success and 1 threat.
Laura, what's the damage on an auto pistol?
5.
So that's 6 big points of damage.
Yeah.
You do not get to activate.
I do not get to activate auto fire. That's okay. I'm just glad there was a success in there.
So you blast one of the long grasping arms off one of the leech mutants.
Yes.
Seem to have done a good hit, so it's still dragging itself like a weird Del Toro monster, but it has been slowed. One of the interesting things about the way the system deals with minions as a concept is rather than the D&D model of here's 15 goblins with 3 HP, they each get a turn. Minions often fight as groups. So you've done 6 points of damage to one of the minion groups, in case you're wondering why, like, hey, I thought I did a bunch of damage there. It's like, you did. Minions.
Okay.
Alto, you are shoved hard by Lyric into a small gooey pod, and you start to stumble as you come over the lip and find that there is a pulped human body splayed across the insides of this small pod. Here's my question. As you begin to trip, do you use the robot arm to catch yourself? Is that a thing your arm does?
It's not a strong arm. It's got a number of different sort of like jacks and things like that. It also has a series of vials that can be filled with, help me out here, Ryan.
It's like sacred oils.
Sacred
Basically,
oils and
the
like
idea
vapors for christening technology to basically make it function.
Tyler, I'm going to say that you have a small amount in one of them. But it very much is like the dregs that were left over in one of these things. So enough to like maybe turn something on, but not proper machine, God bless it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I think in my head I had more of like a servo arm, but it's not that. It's basically a multi-tool on a gimbaled arm.
Yes, it's more delicate. There is a different kind of arm that you can like brace yourself with it and stuff like that, and even use it as like a melee weapon. This is not that.
Gotcha. Okay, so you do not brace. You trip and fall into this slushy pile, and yeah, you find a dead Navy officer who looks like she ping-ponged around inside the pod on the way down.
Ugh.
Yikes.
I'll scramble up to my feet and take out this map and try and make heads or tails of it and get us going to where we need to.
I would give you astrocartography. I mean, technically we're not in space, but it's the only kind of map-based thing. I would also take survival.
I'm good with survival.
Because Kel wrote this, she wrote it in a way you would understand. So I'm going to say 2 purple.
Okay.
But you're in a room full of blood, and there's mutants attacking, and the city's falling apart. So I'm going to spend a story point to upgrade one of those purples to a red.
Boo.
I'm good to roll if that's all you want to add there.
Do it up.
2 successes, 1 threat.
You are able to track the pathway she's laid out, and you can see that it actually seems to be part of the air purification duct system. The entryway to this is not too far from here. It's through kind of the path of the falling pods. You could probably make it there in 15-ish minutes on foot.
Okay. So I will peek my head out the door of the pod and be like, I got it. We can be there in 15 minutes if we leave now.
You see an arm get blasted off one of the mutant leech people, and you see them starting to grow barbs and defenses as they start to crawl up and over. For 1 point of threat, you feel something begin to tug at the hem of your pants.
I look down.
There is a severed arm, and it is closing its fingers around the hem of your pant leg.
I kick it off.
As you do so, you hear a choked voice behind you gurgle from the shadows. Are you sure you don't want to stay? Or maybe you can join us amongst the stars.
I don't have words to respond. Like, it is too weird.
Do you look or do you just book it?
I think I run.
Totally fair. Yeah. So you hop out of the pod. I assume you like slam the door on your way out?
Yeah, I'm just going to close it behind me, yeah.
You close the door and you think you can hear a gurgling laugh come from inside the pod.
Running faster.
So you're headed in the direction the map showed?
Yeah.
Cool. Leech people begin to close in. Given that their main focus is Lyric and Valentine, we'll go with those first. Valentine, what does your refractor field do?
It just adds 2 defense. Essentially, stuff can bounce off of it. It's not perfect, but it does increase the level of melee and ranged defense. I picture it, if you want to know, kind of like the shields they use in Dune. It's very effective, but in a limited physical capacity. So, like, it can slow down a blow, but not necessarily stop it.
Okay, cool. So, defense adds...
challenge dice.
Challenge dice, yeah.
Yes.
So I'll be adding 2 black to my attacks.
Is it a ranged attack, Tom?
No, they happily do not have ranged weapons.
With my chainsword in hand, my defense in melee is 3, because it's also defensive 1, so it adds.
Gotcha. All right, so you have defensive 3.
He was trained as a commissar until he was 20-something.
Until he wasn't.
It's strong enough to raise the dead.
Ultimately, I have 1 failure. So you've got the chainsword out, and you're picking your targets, and then suddenly one of these things is on your feet, and just with a flourish of vague disdain that only a commissar could pull off, you just sweep the chainsword down and run it across the creature's guts. What's the damage on a chainsword?
Chainsword is damage 7.
I'm not going to give you the full thing because this is just on a failure. I'm going to say they take 3.
Cool.
So just a quick sweep, but you're feeling good. Meanwhile, Lyric, you have a couple rushing in on you. What is your defense?
1.
So as you're snapping off shots, these things are moving much faster on the ground than you're used to, and also you're used to fighting purely human opponents.
Yes.
So things moving at mutated awful speed are not quite your tempo. All right, so I got 1 success and 2 advantage.
Oh, shit.
That will be 4 points of damage to you. What is your soak?
My soak is 2.
So you take 2 points of damage.
Is that wounds?
Wounds, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have your base wounds, and then there's also strain, which is essentially your mental capacity.
denne sløyfa. Vi har en sånn sløyfe. Det ikke sånn du kjøper på bensinstasjonen med knappenåler. Det en fin sånn, med sånn bord på i sølv.
Og 17. mai-pynten, liksom.
Ja. Og den jo da i form av pins. Altså i en pinn.
Ja.
Så skal
et bakstykke.
Så skal jeg felle denne inn i jakka og vise at jeg tro på 17. mai. Så den borte, den der dingsen.
Nei,
den
på
baksida. Og altså, uansett hvilken skuff jeg går i hjemme, så finner jeg noen pins som ikke jeg bruker til noen ting. Det blir ikke at du bruker det så mye. Men den der ene lille, den holderen bak der.
Ja, var det sånn blank med sånne englevinger?
Ja, sånn klemmer sammen. Ja. Så vet du jeg fant det? 18. mai.
Nei!
18. mai, men da monterte jeg den på, sånn at den klar til neste 17. mai.
Ja, du gjorde det. Du tok ikke bare en dråpe med limpistol på baksida, sånn, la en liten perle med arrald ditt når du ikke hadde bakstykket, så for at den skulle sitte.
At ikke jeg tenkte på det. Nå en senere. Ja, vi har jo startet langkjøring, nå har vi jo gjort, mens dere hørte på denne jingeren.
Vi på vei, vel? Så
startet vi en langkjøring med Boskau og Behagens Dentalisk. Jeg undertegnede har jo hatt slitt med litt forkjølelse siste uka.
Vært du usikker på om det lungebetennelse, kols, pollenallergi eller en ren skjær forkjølelse?
Ja, jeg sverger nok til at det en forkjølelse, men holder døra eller nesebordet litt åpne for forslag. Og har stappet nesa full av forskjellige remedier som gjør at hjernemassen går i oppløsning.
Hva går du for tre oppi der? Har du en av hver?
Ja, en av hver. Og så kjøpte jeg
Ottervin og hvitvinsfett og alt på en gang?
Ja, og jeg har fått nå en sånn mentolspray som du trykker, og det så du ser klart et øyeblikk når du treffer øyet. Men i hvert fall så også en annen sånn pumpe med noe høytrykk, så snørret renner, og det grisete som bare det. Men så sitter jeg jo da i mitt daglige studio, forkjøla, passe på mine medkolleger og tørke meg med sånne spritpadder.
Det padder? Er det sånne smittepaddefelter?
Nei.
Våtservietter?
Våtservietter med sprit, sånn som vi hadde under pandemien, som har bare fortsatt å stå rundt omkring på kontorlandskap. Tørker av mikrofon, tørker av mus, tørker av tastatur, tørker av bordet, alt jeg skal passe på at det ikke smitter noen. Men når du litt sånn tett i nesa, for den tar jo bakterier, ikke sant?
Musklene løper jo som faen når du har den kluten fra.
Men så nyåpnet sånn knut, og så drar jeg et par magadrag opp i nesa av den spriten.
Spritkluter?
Sniffe spritkluter, det må da ha samme nytte av det.
Ja, har du vært borte hos dunkerne på Grønland, eller sånn at du på død porsles?
Bommespritkluter?
De sniffer jo terpentin, jeg vet ikke hva det jeg trodde det var en slags kake. Terpentiner?
Nei, ja, det de blander, de tynn av maling.
Ikke tynner da?
Nei, terpentin var lynol du tenker på.
Ja, men jeg tror ikke de var så opptatt av hva det står på etiketten. De sniffer, men sniffing ikke så mye lenger.
Nei, det kanskje ikke det. De sniffer lim, og de sniffer lakk, og de sniffer mye.
Lakk og lær.
Da jeg gikk på skolen, og vi skulle ha det sløyd, og så hadde vi lagd oss heidundrende fine lampetter, ja, da kan dere gå inn på rommet der og lakkere dem. Vi gikk i 8. og 9. klasse eller noe sånt da, på skolen, og inn på det der lille lakkrommet. Det var før sånne utluftingsvifter ble finnet opp. Der sitter altså en 4-5 mann passe blingsete og lakkerer lampene sine. Og tørte jo ikke å gå ut og røyke engang, var rett skutt av fyr i hele huet.
Men du ikke ferdig med hva som skjedde på studio?
Det jeg lurer på, det at det må jo ha samme preventive virkning oppi nesa som det har på fingra.
Åja, så du skal begynne å bomme neseborene dine med sprit? Ja, det ikke det som
det regner bra i nasen, må jeg jo si, men det må da være en eller annen medisinsk kunnskapsrik lytter der ute som kan avkrefte eller bekrefte om spritpad i nesa. Kan det være bra, eller det muligens litt skadelig? landskap, perfekt for eventyrlystne motorsyklister. 100 000 kilometer går tvers gjennom Europa, hvor de ikke kjører på asfalt i det hele tatt. Du blir vel litt mør i rumpa hvis du skal. Det vel ikke...
Du kan prøve alle 100 000 kilometer på en gang.
Nei, men tenk deg, altså, det må jo være en veldig fin tur, da, hvis du kjører en sånn enduro-sykkel og...
Ja, men jeg tenker at det er de som
Skal ikke ha noe lav kafferacer der, tror jeg.
Nei, men også tenker jeg de som starter i gærne enden i forhold til oss da, som starter, la oss si de starter nederst i Europa da, og kjører oppover. Og da det jo først i den turen, så det jo kanskje i Spania eller Italia eller sånn, og der det jo et alternativ å finne gode asfaltveier. Så kjører de på grus. Når du kommer til Norge blir de jo skuffet, for det jo ikke annet enn drittveier. Så da kan de bare kjøre E6, og så det ræva. Men Trans-Øre, det blitt gjennomført i kjole, og hva det?
Nei, det ikke sånn trans. Det ikke, du tenkte at det var Pride.
Eurotrans.
TET Norge tar deg gjennom flere nasjonalparker, daler og fjellhåler. Altså dette her, TET, dette tror jeg altså, for innvidde må være et fint ferietips. Da.
Det Lars Monsen på motorsykkel, vet du.
Rett og slett.
Ja, jeg ikke hyppe. Jeg ikke sugen. Du sugen, eller?
Nei, overhodet ikke.
Du har jo fått deg tohjuling i garasjen. Jeg har sett det. Vi skal snakke litt om det, men du har jo fått dratt inn et nytt tilskudd i garasjen.
Ja, noe småtteri som dukker opp, vet du.
Jeg skal melde deg på, jeg tror det 2 plasser igjen. For jeg tar ikke den siste.
På Peugeot 50 kubikkskutter, tror jeg. Da må jeg dra nå, så ser jeg til jul.
Nå jo Mikrolin innregistrert som motorsykkel også, da.
Og tenk deg å kjøre grusvei med Mikrolino.
Ja, tenk deg det. Å, fy Gud forby.
Hvor du skal lade hen oppi noen fjellkjeder i Pyreneene?
Det 1 lade jeg skal ha med på den turen der, og det sjoko.
Gratulerer med 16-årsdagen, jenta. Litt av en sommer da du ble født. Vi malte huset med utenlands futurashesten. Det jo 16-årsgradering på den husmalingen. Mamma og jeg veldig fornøyde med den malingen. Og deg, så klart. Du jo så god i... Bruk utenlands Futura 16 neste gang du skal male. Med 16 års garanti på farge og glans. Mange ikke vet, Geir, at livet ditt jo på mange måter som en Øystein Sunde sang. Det jo ikke tvil om det. Det både svigerforeldre, det gøyale fedre, bestefedre, biler og turer, og ikke minst redskaper som du bruker i hagen. Og denne gangen går vi over i rett og slett sagaen om den elektriske motorsaga.
Hva dette lyden da? Motorsag i pinsen?
Ja, eller meg på muntlig eksamen i matte.
Omtrent det samme.
Ja, det ikke
Nei, altså, jeg gikk til innkjøp av motorsag på batteri. Det jo som kjent forbudt med kantkleppere på bensin og svære sirkelsager og sånt, even på helligdag.
Oi, det?
Jo, men det ikke alle naboene som like enige med deg der, så der kan du få bråk. For det skal være stille da på... Dette kjenner jo vi til fra gatebil, at det skal jo ikke kjøres racerbil før kirketid, eller før etter kirketid. Men så det noen gamle regler. Men helligdagsvennlig motorsag helt nydelig.
Så bråker ikke, da kommer den gode gamle historien, når du dekker et tre i skogen, Geir, hører du det, lager det lyd selv om man ikke der? For disse greiene som detter vel ned, selv om du ikke saga-bråker?
Ja, det faller ned.
Og det lovlig lyd, for det naturen selv, da.
Så måtte jeg ut og prøve dette her da, på hytta i helga. Og da det en tomt hvor det mye dødt og sånne...
Nå det i hvert fall dødt, si.
Ja, det var nemlig. Men, så det var litt sånne, og noen sånne tynne, lange stelker av sånn som blir litt for høye til en vanlig liten sag, og så...
Du har tatt på deg et samfunnsoppdrag fordi du hadde ny sag. Hadde du ikke det å leid sag for å gjøre samme jobben, eller gjorde du fordi du hadde saga?
Ja, for jeg hadde saga. Og det var så gøy, og nytt, så det nytt kjede, og det så skarpt og fint, så det bare
smør.
Så jeg måker igjennom, gi beskjed til en annen nabo at her ligger det ved, bare hent. Og han ble så glad som bare det. Og så sa han, hva tenker du om denne her, for jeg har noen sånne busker langs med veien her, hva tenker du om det? Hva tenker du om det? Pss, 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 så hadde jeg måket ned 4 stykker. Ikke ta det siste der, det juletreet så pent, det kan vi ha der, sier han. Og jeg meia ned så fast at jeg tror ikke jeg skal be deg om å klippe neglene mine, for da tar du helt opp til skuldra med en gang. Men det var gøy, altså.
Ja, så du har rydda.
Og så snakket jeg med...
Ser det ut som en vanlig motorsag?
Ser som en vanlig motorsag, så det 2, og dette her en Makita, så det 2 doble 18 volts batterier du må sende på.
Ja.
Og den varer en god stund, så det ikke sånn at du må løpe inn for hver busk.
Nei.
Men noe så morsomt.
Er du måtte på sånn Pokémon Go-safari for å finne når du skulle hente på butikken forrige gang?
Jeg hadde kjøpt den på en nettbutikk.
Ja.
Jeg husker ikke hva den heter, så jeg skal ikke si navn der nå til, for jeg sier noe feil. Men i hvert fall, så det var motorsag i butikk, altså, som jeg hentet. Men noe så morsomt, og så
Skal du ta på deg oppdrag nå, eller skal du kjøpe deg sånn hjelm med sånn med visir og hørselvern oppå hjelmen?
Jeg har det.
Lange hansker?
Jeg har det.
Har du sånn kuddsikker bukse også?
Ja.
Som blir tråder når du får belt, eller den der kjede nede der?
Ja.
Og sånne oransje slagstøvler med vernetøp?
Ja, har alt det.
Faen, du
Jeg bruker ikke. Nei, jeg bruker ikke. Står i shorts. Men jeg snakket med en som driver med litt proffere vedhugging enn det jeg gjør.
Han har gitt seg nå, eller? Du har fått en sag?
Litt mer skogsdrift enn det jeg driver, og han sa det at vi bruker han var så imponert over de der elektriske motorsagene at nå gidder han ikke å dra i gang sånn med bensin.
Det lukter jo bedre med sånn som går på totakt.
Ja, det gjør jo, men du får jo den der fine lukta av nyskjært